Okay. So again, the other three questions, all three questions I have asked from one chapter in the economic survey, right? That's why I ask you to read economic survey at least of the past 3 years, right? You read the economic survey of the past 3 years, you will understand your questions in your prelims and mains. It's that important, right? So one question is a direct question on what are the initiatives for school students during COVID-19 pandemic, right? The question is directly in front of us in the economic survey. It is directly given, right? The Prime Minister's e-Vidya, right, was announced for school and higher education, right? So the government announced something called as an Atmanirbhar Bharat program, right, to combat the impact of COVID-19, right? So as a part of that Atmanirbhar Bharat program, the government announced the PM e-Vidya program. So it is an initiative to bring together all the efforts related to digital online on air education to enable multi-mode and equitable access to education. Now, see, it's very interesting, online education or digital education, whatever way, right? Basically, say contactless or a presenceless education, right? And to enable it multi-mode. Now we see because of the COVID pandemic, you can start your answer saying, COVID pandemic has the most important impact that it has is on academics, right? Education sector, because it's almost like 1 year is gone. The government is finding it difficult to conduct exams. The government is finding it difficult to, you can't conduct exams unless you conduct classes. Now, not everybody has access to digital equipment, right? The government schools, we know, they're very poorly equipped with infrastructure to deal with such an exigency, right? So there is a lot of issue because of which the government decided that we'll have to do something to make sure that the school going students are not affected much, right? So it started this PM e-Vidya component, which has four components. It is a very straightforward answer: one nation, one digital education infrastructure, right? So all states and UTs, have free access to single infrastructure, digital infrastructure called Diksha, the Diksha portal, no? And then they have something called Vidya Dan portal was launched on this Diksha to allow contribution of e-learning resources at any educational body, private body, or if you're an individual expert, you can even contribute for the resources of this what you say the program, right? The Vidyadan portal. So you can log into the Vidyadan portal, register yourself, and you can you can see through it all the videos and lectures materials being posted by educational bodies, right? And then they have another component called one class one TV channel. See, all this is already in the book that you can directly read through. There's nothing difficult to understand or think about the concept in this, right? It's just an answer that you need to read and put it on the paper, right? At one class one TV channel through Swayam Prabha TV channels, there are 12 channels devoted to telecast high quality educational programs. And then use of radios, community radios, podcasts, right? Government started all these Siksha Vani podcasts, Gyan Vani FM radio stations, etc. And then for differently abled, there is a DTH channel in sign language that was introduced, right? Study material developed in digitally accessible information system and in sign language, right? And there is something called Swayam MOOCs, massive open online courses. All of us can actually register. Anybody can register for a course in Swayam portal. You want to learn something, you can register in Swayam portal. If that course is available, you can happily learn and get a certificate that you have done this course, right? With almost 1.5 crore students enrolled under SWAYAM courses. Even now, I keep enrolling in the SWAYAM courses if there is any interesting course. It's pretty nice, right? So, and then there is funding that the government is providing to states and UTs to promote online learning, right? Online teacher training and other things. They established a national repository of open educational resources, right? An open storehouse of e-content, and the government also gave something called as Pragyata guidelines on digital education, right? With a focus on online blended digital education, right? If you maybe if you're writing your mains, you might hear the words blended learning. What is blended learning, right? Kind of questions might actually come up even in your prelims, right? So whenever you see such terms, try to understand their actual meaning on what it is. So government brought out guidelines, to focus on digital education. And there is an initiative called Manodapan. It's a psychosocial support, right, to increase the productivity and efficiency, because it's very students are finding it really difficult. Even those who are attending online lectures, right, they're finding it very difficult to sit through, because on the one hand it is really boring, on the other hand it is very tiresome, right? You're sitting almost some 6-7 hours at a stretch in front of the computer, trying to understand what the faculties are trying to reach. It is you know it's really tiresome. So the government has come up with an initiative to provide some kind of a support, right, to increase the productivity and efficiency in the education sector. Right. So these are the things that you can write, and you can conclude by saying, the initiatives of government have been successful to a significant extent. Right. When you're talking about government schemes, you should always write it in a positive manner. You cannot end it in a criticizing way, though you do not like whatever policies they have been bringing up. Always end it up with a positive note.